Good evening, everyone. Didn't I turn this off? My goodness, stop. How do I make it stop? Oh, it just faded out on its own. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Web of Mystery. What's going on? What's going on? Why does this sound bad? Sorry, Instagram started playing me, and that was okay. Hi. How long have you been doing this, John? 5 years, can you tell? No, I cannot. I can't tell that at all. We have got the gang in chat. Hi, Raphael. Hi, Diana J. Brody. Hi, Joe Townsell. And we got some folks from Instagram looking in. Hey, Instagram. Always wonderful to have you with us. This is a special show. This is a show that Diana J. Brody, who is in our audience every episode. I love that so much. She asked one time, was there ever a radio equivalent to Encyclopedia Brown? I don't know if she ever remembered asking that, but people have asked, was there ever a radio version? There were. And a bunch of them starred and she's saying hello to everyone. Hello. Uh, tonight's detective had a series of these, and I am going to play some for you. And I think once I play them for you, you'll be like, that's fine. We're good. You don't need to play any more of those. Oh my goodness. What happened to my... Oh, there you are. Sorry. I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties. Okay, so Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries. The first one we're going to hear is called Time Bomb. I don't know a date on these because these were syndicated, and a lot of times syndicated shows played at different times. It's almost impossible to determine without good record keeping which one played when. So here we go.
Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries.
Please tell me I'm sharing this. Am I sharing this? I am sharing this. Good. Okay, here we go. Hey, Chris is with us. Hey, Chris. All right, here we go. Minute Mystery.
This is Ellery Queen with a case I call the Time Bomb. An eccentric Chicago millionaire friend of mine went a step too far, I thought, in making two heirs compete for a fabulous diamond provided in his will. I knew one of the heirs who came to me for help. The will said the gem would be awarded to the first one who signed the claim before a U.S. magistrate on June 1st, 1 year after the millionaire's death. What'll I do, the heir asked me. Find an island in the Pacific, I replied. In a moment, I'll tell you what I meant.
Very Encyclopedia Brown. Here's where the commercial would go.
In the case of the time bomb, the young heir could beat his rival by going to the place where June 1st would come first on U.S. soil. That would be the island of Guam. A long way to go for a diamond, but worth it.
That's it.
Listen again to Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries.
So there you go, Ellery Queen. Hey, good news from Chris. No swab and chest x-ray for COVID. Results tomorrow. Fingers crossed for you, Chris. Chris has been up against it for quite some time now, fighting some health issues, and we want our pal to be okay. Ellery Queen is a really, really interesting character, and in the mid-century, in the middle part of the 20th century, was without a doubt one of the most popular detectives in the United States. He's beloved all over the world as well. He did have a series. It ran for one season. It is beloved. And maybe I'll talk to Mr. Townsell, and maybe on Retro Rangers at some point, we'll dig out the old Jim Hutton series of Ellery Queen, because they're awfully good. They're very, very good. The love for Chris, always there. Chris is one of ours, and we just feel better ASAP, Chris. That was the first of the minute mysteries. Do you guys want to hear another one, or should we get into the big show? Should we get into the half-hour version of Ellery Queen? I leave it up to the chat on this one because it's going to be a relatively quick episode, not a whole lot. Ellery Queen books. Chris says he read many as a kid. Ellery Queen is a very strong presence in detective fiction, really beloved. Everybody has a like for Ellery Queen, myself included. I didn't know a whole lot about him when I arranged to have him on the show, but honestly, he's pretty good. Yeah, let's do another. Going to do another Ellery Queen minute mystery. I kind of love how fast these are too. They're just so rushed. Here we go. What was this called?
Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries. This is Ellery Queen with a case I call the Genuine Article. A rich American woman named Carlisle came to me to check on a man who wanted to marry her. He claims he's a member of the House of Lords, she told me. He's shown me photos of his manor house in Scotland and an apartment in Edinburgh, but seriously, I think he's a fraud. What makes you so sure, I asked. She replied, he told me he was elected to the House of Lords. They're not elected, they're appointed by the Queen. What do you think? In a moment, my answer.
Da 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 da. Buy our stuff. Ba 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 da.
In the case of the Genuine Article, the man was indeed that. He was from Scotland, where some members of the House of Lords of the British Parliament are elected. Miss Carlisle, now Mrs. McTavish, has moved to Scotland. Listen again to Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries.
Speaking of mysteries, this is Mr. Weber's Web-O Mystery, and look what I did. I forgot to run the open. Very good.
Mr. Weber's Web-O Mystery. Mr. Weber's Web-O Mystery.
I gotta tell you, when I was first making this credits video, my absolute favorite part was my name. That to me, like, I don't know if you know that's a joke. Like, putting my own name up in front of these big flames, an absolute joke. If you know me, you know how much it tickled me to not only do this, but then make my wife watch it and just laugh the whole time, because I know it's silly. All right, anyway, that's our beginning. Diana J. Brody says, these minute mysteries are the potato chips of mystery shows. It is hard to have just one. I agree. And they would be delicious with dip. Joe says, I would think the 1 minute mystery would be the commercial. Yes. Diana J. Brody says, your wife is a saint. You know it, sister. She absolutely is. Joe says, I'm sure Leslie loves it as much as the rest of us. Silly is as silly does. Yes, Chris, Joe, you're absolutely right. Diana, you're absolutely right. She knew what she was getting into. We were in the same improv comedy group. That's how we started, my wife and I. That's how we met. Again, I'm going to go pretty quick on this. Tonight's episode, a lot of things went wrong this week, and one of them was tonight's episode, and you will soon see why. Let me just show you our ad. The Adventures of Ellery Queen. Beautiful ad. Beautifully made. Joe Townsend puts these together for me. The Adventures of Ellery Queen. Oh, wait. And the title. Now, I had never heard this episode. I just chose it based on how much I liked the title. The Man Who Was Murdered by Installments. I loved that title. I was all in just because of that title. So that seems to be where we're starting. But unfortunately, things are going to go awry very quickly, and you'll see, you'll hear. It will be as evident to you as it was immediately to me, because I did start listening to it while I was doing some other work, and I went, oh no. So here we go. I'm going to get you to the right video.
At this time of night?
Oh, here we go. So this video, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. The channel is called the Classic Archives Old Time Radio Channel. Doing very well. Look at you guys. You got yourselves 27.2K subscribers. Got to give I am one of them. Feel free to be another one of them if you'd like. This was posted 7 years ago. And this episode, what did they write? Ellery Queen, which was introduced on CBS Radio as The Adventures of Ellery Queen, was a detective series that featured Hugh Marlowe as the title character. I don't know if Hugh's on the one we're hearing tonight. The one we're hearing tonight is by... So what I did, I ran and did some research. It says this one's from 1945. November 7th, 1945. Did you know Ellery Queen was listed as the author of his books? Obviously a pseudonym, but a very clever gimmick created by his writers, more than one, Frederick Dene and Manfred Bennington. They were two cousins, and they loved the same stuff, and they really loved mysteries. So they created Ellery Queen. Now, a lot of detective writers came later to write for Ellery Queen or the Ellery Queen magazine, which Dene founded. And it was a really, really strong brand for many, many years. In the years of radio, very much. Ellery Queen, everybody knew Ellery Queen. He had multiple shows, as you can tell by the fact he had Minute Mysteries at some point. And they kept writing under the pseudonym, these two fellas. Now, the one we're going to be listening to, I told you, was called The Man Who Was Murdered by Installments. It's actually not called that. And here we go.
Now, Ellery Queen in The Adventure of the Message in Red. Because it relieves headache pain so fast.
Take an Anacin.
Because it gives prolonged relief.
Take an Anacin.
Because it's made like a doctor's prescription.
Take an Anacin.
Anacin presents The Adventures of Ellery Queen. Tonight, the makers of Anacin bring you another thrilling adventure of Ellery Queen, the celebrated gentleman detective. Ellery Queen invites you to match wits with him as he relates another story of a crime he alone unraveled. Before revealing the solution, he gives you a chance to solve the mystery. Tonight, Anacin's guest, who will represent you home armchair detectives, is the famous actor Victor Jory. And now, here's Ellery Queen, master detective, your Anacin host for the next half hour.
Thank you, Don Hancock, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, tonight's mystery really had my father going.
Your father, huh?
Oh, Nicky.
I suppose all those murders were duck soup for you, huh?
Oh, no, Nicky, this case was no harder than many I've had. Anyway, I call it The Adventure of the Message in Red.
Hotel Arbutus, public stenographer. Yes, I'm Miss Kirby. At this hour? But... All right. If you drop into my office right away, I'll try to get it out tonight. Oh, why can't they just take their old business letters during the day? Oh, gee, I'm tired. I better douse my eyes with cold water. I'm so sleepy I could... So soon. Coming. They must have used a house phone from the lobby. Come in, won't you? that? Huh. Nobody out here. Oh. Now, who'd be using that talky thing from the vestibule? Nobody does. Yes? Yes, this Miss Hazel? What, at this time of night? I was just going to bed. Been washing my supper dishes. All right. If they've just got to have a reader's report on it by tomorrow morning, just open the vestibule door, and my apartment's the first door on your right. Would be my luck if it's one of those 500,000-word jobs. Just a second. Oh, I wish I were in the land of cotton. Old times there are not...
Yes. Yeah. And that's all you've got to tell me, Piggott? Call back when you make sense. Sorry, Ellery, to keep you and Nicky waiting.
Those 2 killings last night, Dad, huh?
Yes. Blasted.
What 2 killings, Inspector? I haven't seen today's paper.
2 girls, Nicky. First one, a public standard with the Hotel Arbutus on Lexington Avenue. Shot to death at 9:15 p.m. Name of Kirby.
Second one, a part-time manuscript reader for Mason and Morris and the publishers, a Miss Hazel. Shot to death around 10:30 p.m. in her Greenwich Village apartment.
Both as opened their doors. No evidence of robbery. Both unmarried, unattractive, no entangling alliances. Lived alone. No witnesses, no clues, no motive. And the girls never knew each other. Never knew any of the same people. Cute?
Then the murders aren't connected, Inspector.
But they are, Nicky. Ballistics reports the same gun killed both of them.
I don't wonder you're puzzled.
I think it's enough to kill myself, Ellery. Yes, Billy?
Afternoon, Sergeant.
Hi, Miss Porter. Myself.
Oh, Sergeant.
Inspector. Know what?
No. What?
Another one.
No.
Huh?
Yeah, a girl shot to death. She answered her door around 1 a.m. last night. Body wasn't found till this morning.
Ooh, number 3 last night.
Who's this one, Billy?
Lady's maid, Lucille Dubois.
Dubois, Sergeant, French.
Yeah, French maid. Worked for the Canellas.
Canella? The, Vetti Canella?
The same.
She was shot in the Canella house, Sergeant.
Yeah, that 199-room shack on Upper Fifth Avenue. In her bedroom.
A stenographer, a publisher's reader, and a lady's maid. Mind if I sit in, Dad?
You can make any sense out of it, son. Come on.
Oh, my poor head. My home overrun with police officers. I've had to cancel the most important appointment this afternoon with my hairdresser.
Mrs. Canella, if you let me get away...
My husband is simply furious. My daughter, poor child, frustrated.
Look, Mrs. Canella.
And I'm on the verge of losing what little mind I have.
Mrs. Canella.
You understand, Mr. Crean. I know you do.
The death of your maid has upset you, naturally.
Oh, yes. Where am I going to turn? How can I replace Lucille? You don't know the trouble I had getting her originally. And now she's dead. It's not fair. It isn't.
The trouble is, gentlemen, you don't know the problems we girls have.
Look, madam, how did this happen?
I'm sure I don't know. People shooting off guns in my home and everything. I'm so glad I wasn't home when it happened, even though the house is completely soundproof.
Your husband with you, madam?
Mr. Kennett? Oh, no, he was out somewhere. His club or something.
How about your daughter?
Madge. Oh, now, please, don't drag poor Madge into this. She's suffered so much already.
When did you first learn your maid was dead, Mrs. Canella?
About 11 o'clock this morning, Mr. Crean. When she didn't bring my breakfast in bed, I knew instantly something was wrong.
Well, of course. That's the way you tell.
Oh, yes. I rang and I rang and I rang.
Mrs. Canella, who found the stiff?
Tiff?
The remains, madam.
Why, my daughter. One of the servants told Madge that Lucille's light was still on this morning, and she didn't answer the door. So Madge went up to the servants' quarters and went in, and the poor child, the poor child. That's why no one answered my rings, you see.
Leaving you without breakfast. Oh, that's simply frightful,
yes,
Miss Canella. Yes. Well, suppose you have a little snack of caviar and cold pheasant or something while we hunt up your daughter.
Oh, dear. Must you?
Must we what, madam?
Give Madge the third degree or whatever it is. You don't know how sensitive the child is. She's always been so delicate. She shrinks so from the more brutal aspects of life.
Oh, Mother, stop drooling.
Oh, Madge, darling, are you all right, dearest?
Definitely not. Are these some more policemen? Who's the wench, your sob-sister?
The wench is Nicky Porter, Mr. Queen's secretary.
Ellery Queen.
Sergeant Villy.
Inspector Queen. Now, Miss Canella.
And you're in charge. Why isn't that body taken away, and who's going to clean up the mess? And you're to keep reporters out, too, do you hear? Thing like this happening now. Do you hear me? No newspaper men.
Oh, dearest, don't excite yourself.
Oh, shut up, Mother. All this is your silly fault anyway.
My
Yes, I told you long ago you should send that snoop packing, but no. You had to hang on to it till she had the bad taste to get herself murdered all over our house. What am I going to say to Evie?
Evie?
My fiancé. Three-star engagement was supposed to be announced this week. One of the very best Boston families. He'll never stand for a scandal.
Why should you think there's going to be a scandal, Miss Canella?
Oh, well, isn't a murder scandal enough?
I don't think that's what your daughter meant, Mrs. Canella. Well?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I didn't mean anything.
Let's take a look at the corpse.
Interesting.
What is it?
Notice the facing surfaces of the tips of her index and middle fingers, Dad, on the right hand.
Oh, calloused. Funny face for calluses.
Yes.
If you gentlemen are through admiring Miss Dubois' calluses, would you mind covering up again so I can turn around?
Oh. All right now, Nicky.
But how do you know this maid's murder is connected with the other two murders?
Bradley was here early and dug the bullet out of her chest, Nicky. Ballistics just reported it came from the same gun that shot the Kirby and Hazel girls. Just what the connection is, I'm blessed. Oh, Veely?
You through with the corpus, Inspector. The morgue wagon's here for the pickup.
Take her away.
She's all yours, boy.
What did you find out about the other servants, Sergeant?
Names, Butler, James Smathers, Cook, Sally Fabian, chauffeur, Waller Boyle. Upstairs maid, Vera Andorf. Smathers and Boyle share a double room, so do the Fabian and Andorf woman. Each bunkie alibis the other for last night. Period.
Mother, you know you shouldn't be up here. Just your morbid curiosity.
Oh, I don't know why you say such things to me, Madge, baby. Oh, look what they're doing.
Stay out here in the hall, Margaret. You too, Madge. Inspector Queen.
Who are you?
I'm Milford Canella. My wife just phoned my club. Is there anything I can do?
Excuse me, folks. Okay, boys, take her through.
Oh, Madge, I can't look. Oh, poor Lucy.
Be yourself, Mother.
Oh, Mr. Canella, we were just... Pardon me. Harry, what's that you just picked up?
Oh, well, this piece of scrap paper was hidden by Lucille Dubois' body, Dad.
A message in red.
Red? That's it. Let me see.
Is it? Oh, it is.
Written in blood.
She must have lingered a few minutes after the shot. When I killer left, she tried to write something before she died.
What's it say, Ellery?
Starts with a capital M, but there are not a spatters in the paper, and I can't quite make the rest out.
I'll have Cranley look it over in the police lab. He'll decipher it. Give it to me, son.
It's quite important that you make a quick arrest, Inspector.
What's that mean, Mr. Canella?
I expect very shortly to be appointed to an extremely important diplomatic post abroad. So this unfortunate little affair must be cleared up at once. And without scandal.
Milford has worked so hard for the honor.
Yes, it's been Father's pet dream.
In fact, Inspector, unless you solve this case within 24 hours, I may have to see to it that someone else is put in charge. Come, Margaret. Madge.
And Father's just a little guy who can do it.
Why,
Dad.
Harry, where are you going?
I have to confirm a theory, Dad.
Theory? About what, son?
About the connection between the three murders last night. I think I know now what it was. Anybody care to come along? And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the beginning of our mystery. We'll tell you more in just a moment, but first, here's Don Hancock for Anison. Friends, if you want quick, comforting relief from pounding headache pain...
Take an Anison.
Yes, take an Anison, because Anison relieves headache pain so swiftly. Millions now know that easy-to-take Anison tablets act fast, give prolonged relief. And that's why we say...
Take an Anison.
There's a good reason why Anison relieves the agonizing pain of headache so much more quickly. Anison is made like a doctor's prescription.
That is, it contains not just one, but a combination of medically proven active ingredients. Your own physician or dentist may have already recommended Anacin to you. That's how millions first discovered Anacin's incredibly fast relief. And now, at the first sign of the pains of headache, neuralgia, or neuritis, they simply...
Take an Anacin.
Anacin, spelled A-N-A-C-I-N, is sold at all druggists. So if you want fast, prolonged relief from headache pain...
Take an Anacin.
And now, back to our story. It's a short time later, and the inspector's car, with Sergeant Bealey at the wheel, is threading its way through Midtown Manhattan traffic.
But what is the connection, Ellery?
And how'd you know, Maestro?
What was the occupation of the first victim, the Kirby girl?
Public stenographer.
And the second one, Miss Hazel?
The Greenwich Village gal?
Or she was a part-time manuscript reader for Mason and Morrison.
A public stenographer, a publisher's reader. Now, Dad, do you recall the peculiar calluses we found on Lucille Dubois' right hand?
The facing sides of the tips of her index and middle fingers.
What very ordinary activity, if sufficiently prolonged, would cause calluses there?
Holding a pen or a pencil.
Yes, Nicky, writing. But not casual writing, like the occasional writing of letters. Lucille Dubois was writing a great deal for a long time. Weeks, months.
A diary.
Perhaps, at least a very extensive manuscript in longhand, Sergeant. So, we have Lucille Dubois, lady's maid in a very wealthy society family, writing a long manuscript by hand. When it was finished, what would happen to such a manuscript?
You take it to a public stenographer.
To be typed.
Surely the unfortunate Miss Kirby. And where do people usually take typed manuscripts?
To a publisher.
And most publishers employ readers to weed out undesirable submissions. And that's your Miss Hazel of the village. Simple?
Maestro, you're a genius.
With the way that girls are probably the only 3 people in the world who've read a certain unpublished manuscript.
And that's why they were murdered.
Man, it must be dynamite. The killer must have swept it, probably from the Hazel girl's apartment in the village after he bumped her off.
And destroyed it, Terry.
Yes, but there's still a possibility that something...
Well, here we are, Maestro.
Here's Rockefeller Center. Come on.
I must say, Mason and Morrison go in for book publishing in a large and handsome way, Ellery.
They're a bit on the sensational side, Nicky. Miss Jenkins?
Yes. Alberta Jenkins.
Are you the assistant editor my son spoke to on the receptionist's phone?
Yes. And you must be Inspector Queen.
That's right.
I must say I'm all of a flutter. Am I arrested?
Not exactly, Miss Jenkins. Did you bring the list I asked you for?
Here it is. All the manuscripts turned over to Miss Hazel the past few months for a reader's report.
Let me see, Ellery.
Say, she read a lot, doesn't she?
It'll be quite recent, I think. Look at this entry, Dad.
Maid tells all. By Lucille Dubois.
Wow.
Miss Jenkins, where's this manuscript? Are you sure Miss Hazel didn't return it to Mason and Morrison?
I'm pretty sure she didn't inspect it, but come into my office. No, it isn't here.
Oh, no.
But I just remembered. Where is that again?
Remembered what, Miss Jenkins?
There was a letter from Miss Hazel in this morning's mail. I've been so busy today. Here it is. Still unopened.
Jimmy.
Give that to me, baby.
Oh,
Dear Miss Jenkins, enclosed is a short preliminary report on 3 of the last batch of manuscripts.
I will personally deliver the manuscripts plus full reports later this week. The enclosed thumbnail reports cover number 1.
Give back my lover by Flo Gently.
Fully.
Romance in a phone booth, my Georgette bag. Wow.
And The Maid Tells All by Lucille Dubois.
No.
Miss Jenkins, would you mind leaving us for a moment?
I certainly do mind, Mr. Queen, but, well,
Where's that report the Hazel woman enclosed? Here.
now we'll find out.
Maid Tells All. Sensational true life story of high life as seen from backstairs. Style is faulty. Author obviously thinks in French, but might be worth a rewrite. Possibly high sales appeal, but must be screened carefully by legal departments against libel suits. That's all.
Maid's manuscripts filled a lot of nasty, unsuspected stuff about the Canellas that would have cost Milford Canella that high diplomatic post he's been angling for.
Or Madge Canella, her blue blood Boston marriage.
Yes, somehow the killer discovered what Lucille was writing, who typed her manuscript, and the name of the publisher she sent it to.
And through the publisher, which reader had it.
So he's got to wipe out whoever read it. Steno, wham. Reader, wham. And he swipes the manuscript from her apartment. Then he goes back to the Canella dump and blasts Lucille in the secret society.
Too safe, blast it. I thought we might find a clue here to the killer's identity. But apparently the whole Canella family has motive.
Stymied. Let's go down to headquarters. Maybe the autopsy's turned up something.
Don't drive so fast, Sergeant. You just passed a snail.
There's nothing to rush for, Miss Porter.
You could only see some daylight.
In this darkness, Inspector? Oh, at least I'm enjoying this ride on the East River Drive. Or I would be if the great man's thoughts weren't.
Of course.
Oh, Mr. Queen is with us again.
Where they learn?
The answer, Dad. It's right in your pocket.
What answer?
To the triple header, Maestro?
In my pocket.
I forgot, you forgot, we all forgot, Dad. A certain message in red.
Holy. That dang message Lucille wrote in her own blood.
Say.
The one we couldn't decipher.
How'd I put it? Ah, here. What's the matter with
Come
me?
on.
Billy, get down to headquarters. Quick.
Yeah, man. Ha. If anybody can make it out, it's that Whistler lab. Men, we're in. Sailing, sailing over the lonely
Huh? What's eating you now, son?
A car right in the trail coming up fast.
Some drunk who wants a race.
With a police car out.
Billy, he's out to wreck us.
Oh, yeah?
Keep going, faster.
Look out, Sergeant!
No, not with Mickey in the car.
Don't mind me.
He's gaining.
I can only spot the driver. It's too dark.
Lady!
Oh, don't tell me I'm in one piece.
I'm okay, too. Inspector.
No bones broken, Bailey. Ellery.
By a miracle, we're all right. Oh, Billy, that was quick thinking.
Certainly was.
Well, if it weren't for the way you took that crash, Sergeant, we've been through the retaining wall at the bottom of the river.
Thanks, but look at the car, Inspector.
Never mind the car. Why?
Dad, Lucille's message.
Huh?
All three Canellas were present when I found it under Lucille's body this afternoon.
One of them must have trailed us.
Waiting a chance to destroy Lucille's clue before we could get it to headquarters.
Then the killer is one of the Canellas. And her message tells which one.
Hey, the car, Bailey. Let's get to that lab.
Sergeant!
Well, Bailey?
What's the lab verdict?
Well, it's this way.
Sergeant.
No good.
Kind of looks like a puzzler, Inspector.
Never mind characterizing it, Billy. What did they say the message is?
It starts with a capital M, Maestro, like you said, then a period.
M period, yes?
Then a space, then a capital K, then a small I in, the N trailing off like she died before she could finish the word. And that's all.
Capital M period, space, capital K, small I-N.
Capital K, small I-N. The start of the name Canella.
No doubt about it, Nicky.
But what's the capital M period space mean?
Last name Canella. M period must be the initial of one of the Canella's first names.
Milford Canella. M for Milford.
The daughter's name also starts with an M, Nicky. Madge.
Well, then it's either Madge or old man.
Let's not leave out Mrs. Canella. Don't you recall Canella addressing his wife as Margaret?
Frost. Another washout. Again, it could be any of the three. Let's go back to the Canella house. I'll find out which one it is. Good evening.
Oh, dear. Back Inspector Man again.
And that nice Mr. Queen, etc.
Well, Inspector, have you cleared up this mess?
Where were you three late this afternoon and early evening? Where were you?
I needed air. I was strolling in Central Park.
Alone, Mrs. Canella?
Why, yes.
How about you, Mr. Canella?
Well, as a matter of fact, I took a walk myself down Fifth Avenue. Very upsetting business, you know.
Meet anybody you know, Mr. Canella?
No.
And you, Miss Canella?
I took one of our cars and drove around town for a while just to cool off. I'd had a phone call from dear Evie in Boston.
My daughter's fiancé told her they'd better wait about announcing the engagement until this miserable affair blows over. I knew it. I just knew it.
Aren't we getting off the track?
No alibis.
Hey, Ellery, anything to ask these three people before I take them downtown for a real going over?
No, but why do you want to take them to headquarters, Dad?
Why do I? To find out which one of them bumped off the Kirby and Hazel girls and Mrs. Canella's maid. That's why.
Oh, I can tell you that, Dad. Right here and now. And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the mystery. Now, suppose you home armchair detectives match wits with Anison's guest for this evening.
And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our guest, the famous actor of stage, screen, and radio, is Mr. Victor Jory, who is starring on Broadway in the hit play Therese.
Good evening, Mr. Joy. It's nice to have you with us.
Forgot to open my mic. So here we are. When there is a guest, sometimes they would have two guests. Sometimes they would have somebody sort of famous like Victor Jory. Victor Jory. Victor Jory, you might know him. He was one of the carpetbaggers. He was one of the main guys, main carpetbaggers in Gone with the Wind. More towards my interests, there is a very high quality, well done movie serial of The Shadow, one of my favorite radio superheroes. And he was played by Victor Jory. Victor Jory, if you look him up on Wikipedia, which of course I did, oh my gosh, this guy worked and worked and worked. He did so much stuff. Very highly regarded, very well-liked actor. People really liked hiring Jory. And Oh my gosh, I didn't know that, Raphael. One of the stars of Catwomen on the Moon. Victor Jory was he was a big fella. He was a big tough guy. And here he is. He's in a Broadway play, apparently. I didn't know that. And he's dropping by to do this show. This show for celebrities was one of the best gigs. They loved being on this show. They loved taking guesses about who done it and trying to solve things. And I don't know that this is an absolute 100% fact, but I did read today that only one guest in the history of Ellery Queen Mysteries, only one guest ever guessed correctly. So I guess we kind of sort of know it's not Victor Jory. But this is Chris is like, hey, a check is a check. And that is true. That is true. Although I think he's referring to Catwomen on the Moon. Look, Victor Jory did a lot of stuff. He didn't have to be picky. He was there to work. Okay. Let's go. Does anyone want to take any guesses as to who done it? We have the three members of the Canella family, and they are, I think that's their last name, if I'm getting that correct. And they all start with M. So there's some reason to believe that they're all possibly mentioned in the message in red. Let's hear what Victor Jory has to say. Let's do that. Let's just get right back to the show. Victor Jory, who do you think done it?
Well, Mr. Jory, I guess tonight's show is a change for you, isn't it?
It certainly is. Because generally I'm on the other end. I'm the person who's done the murdering, Ellery.
Well, you always are the criminal, but you're always so wonderful, too.
Well, thank you, Nicky. I hope you'll like me just as well in the role of detective.
Sure. Well, Mr. Jory, who do you think murdered the three women?
Well, I'm not very sure. I think it was the mother, Margaret Canella.
Why do you think that?
My only reason for thinking that is because the Milford Canella suspicion is planted on him instantly by the fact that he says that he has a very important post and it's very valuable to him. The daughter backs that up. The mother has said nothing. Furthermore, the mother's alibi, being in Central Park, seems to me one that could be shaken less easily than the man who walked down Fifth Avenue, which might be checked on, or the girl in the car, because the car could be checked on afterwards.
Thank you, Mr. Jory. You'll find out in just a moment if your solution is correct. Now, here's Don Hancock for Anderson.
Today, millions are switching to Anacin. For Anacin is the modern way to relieve headache suffering. There's nothing to fuss with, nothing to mix or spill. Just easy to take little tablets that you carry right in your pocket or purse. And Anacin is the fast way to prolonged relief. Prove it. Next time you have a headache,
Take an Anacin.
Anacin must give you fast, prolonged relief or your money back. I'll repeat that. If you're not thoroughly satisfied that Anacin does much more for your headache pain, simply return the unused portion and your money will be refunded. So tomorrow, ask your druggist for the small, inexpensive package containing 12 Anacin tablets. Take only as directed. If pain persists or is unusually severe, see your physician. Remember, there's only one Anacin. Don't be satisfied with anything less.
Good point.
Next time you have a headache pain,
Take an Anacin.
But how, Maestro?
Time! All right, son. You know which of these respectable citizens killed the 3 girls? Sing out.
Dad, what was the message Lucille Dubois left in her own blood?
Start of a killer's name. Capital M period, space, capital K-I-N for Canella.
Yes. But what did the capital M period stand for?
Well, it could only mean the initial of one of the Canella's first names, Ellery.
How can it possibly represent one of the first names, Nicky? Milford, Madge, Margaret. All M's. If Lucille had presence of mind enough to write that message, certainly she wouldn't have left an ambiguous clue. A clue that could refer to any of the Canellas. So when she wrote that capital M period, she didn't mean the initial of one of their first names. She meant some other abbreviation. One she thought would be perfectly clear.
What, Maestro?
Well, Sergeant, what abbreviation, other than the first initial, usually precedes a last name?
Huh?
Abbreviation for Mr., Mrs., or Miss. Oh, no, that would be MR, MRS. And Miss has no abbreviation.
Oh, so it can't be that either, Ellery.
It can't stand for Mr., Mrs., or Miss in English. But how about French?
French?
What?
Mrs. Canella's maid was French, and that reader's report in her book actually remarked that the author obviously thinks in French. What's the French abbreviation for Mrs.? Any schoolboy knows that. Capital M, small M-E for Madam. Miss, capital M, small L-L-E for Mademoiselle. But for Mr., Monsieur, it's simply capital M period. Get him, Billy.
I'll see you all sizzle for this. Oh, yeah.
I disagree, Mr. Canella. If anyone's going to sizzle, it's you.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the solution to our mystery. We'd like to thank Mr. Jory for being our guest armchair detective this evening. And as mementos of the occasion, Anacin has for Mr. Jory a beautiful Gruen, very thin wristwatch, a copy of my new mystery anthology, Rogues Gallery, and a subscription to Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine.
Ellery will be back in a moment with a preview of next week's story. Meanwhile, remember, because it relieves headache pain so fast,
Take an Anacin.
because it gives prolonged relief,
Take an Anacin.
because it's made like a doctor's prescription,
Take an Anacin.
there's only one Anacin. Get Anacin tomorrow. And now, Ellery, how about next week's case? Got another mystery with 3 or 4 murders?
No, Don, only one murder next week. But it's one of the most confusing to come our way in a long time.
A tough one, huh?
Yes, we had so much evidence we didn't know what to do with it. Not to mention the problem of the bending corpse.
The bending corpse?
Looks like that did it, Don. Now you'll have to wait till next week when Anacin presents The Adventure of the Happy Marriage.
If you are suffering miseries of a cold, why take chances with untried remedies when time-tested, reliable Hill's cold tablets may promptly relieve that dull, headachy feeling and the muscular aches and soreness of colds? Double your money back if you do not get satisfactory relief from such distress in half an hour. Take only as directed. Time the action. Only Hills offers you double your money back if you do not get half-hour relief. Hills cold tablets.
This is Ellery Queen saying good night for Anison.
Anison is a product of the Whitehall Pharmaceutical Company. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Well, there you go. That was actually really pretty good, I thought, considering I was hoping to hear The Man Who Was Murdered by Installments, but instead I heard the message in red. And of course, we got to have that fun that we get to have trying to solve a mystery. What's Raphael saying? The next mystery will be the announcer being shot. Why not Don Hancock? They wouldn't dare. There was a theme behind my last three shows, and no one picked up on it. And it's because it's dumb. It's not because you guys are not to me or to the show or what we're doing. But if you'll remember, we heard Box 13, and then Mr. Keen, and then Ellery Queen. And I was going to actually do a fourth one, but we had an interruption last week or the week before because of the wildfires out here in Southern California. But I was going to play for you Hornet Green. I could have played Voyage of the Scarlet Queen, but this is already Queen, so I didn't want to rhyme a queen with a queen. But yeah, I'm a silly fellow, and sometimes that's how I program this show. Now, next week's show is going to be, I'm very proud of this. It's going to be a show suggested by Raphael. And he's absolutely right. People do want to hear this show. I didn't realize that it could be, such a great show to play. It's Bold Venture. It stars Humphrey Bogart and his wife, Lauren Bacall. This is a period during the 50s when Humphrey Bogart was doing a lot of sailing with his beautiful, gorgeous wife. And this show is very similar to the film they did together, To Have and To Have Not. So this will be a very fun. Good, you guys are excited. Excellent. This will be a very fun show to do, and it also inspired me. This is something we've talked about earlier, to have a theme going on. So there will be a theme to the Friday shows, to the February shows, and the theme will be, oh, I didn't realize that, Raphael. I'll definitely find that in my research for sure. The theme for February, because it's my birthday month, and I just want to do whatever I want to do. So it's going to be Hollywood stars. We're going to do big Hollywood stars and hopefully pull in some more ratings. And it will start with Bold Venture. So next week's show is Bold Venture. I did not upload any of the other shows that we're doing. What is wrong with me? Coming up this weekend is our this weekend on Sunday, our regular Retro Rangers Day. It's Groundhog Day as well. So we will be doing our tribute to Groundhog Day and stories that have time loops in them. And we'll be showing you some really great stuff that maybe you never heard of and might be really, really fun. So you got that going for you. And I forgot to load this one as well, so I'll just load it now. We on Retro Trekkers did the latest Star Trek movie. Oh, it was so bad. Called Section 31. I had such high hopes for it, and it was not great. But when we did it on Retro Trekkers, we had a lot of fun, and it was really funny. And our special guest on it was our good friend Eric Kramer. And so we got Eric to come back for one of the best. He did one of the worst with us. Now he's coming back to do one of the best. We will be recapping and reviewing the Star Trek original series episode Mirror Mirror, one of my favorite episodes of television, easily. We'll be discussing it, showing you some great stuff, and definitely giving you some opinions you've never heard before, giving you some trivia and some backstage news you've never heard before. So that'll be really fun. Join us next Tuesday for that. And of course, when we get to a week from tonight, we'll be listening to Bold Venture. It is an interesting show. It's good. It's got some strange quirks to it. We'll see. We'll see how everyone does. We always have fun doing whatever we can. Section 13 says Joe Townsend never had hopes. Talking about the Groundhog Day, Diana J. Brody says, I love the Groundhog Day, the movie, the time loops. It is really fantastic for that. Chris, it's tough getting old, John, but it's better than the alternative. Yes, well, I appreciate it. I hate being one of those people who's like, this is my birthday month, but it helped me program this month of the show. We're going to be hearing some really well-known stars doing radio shows, and they're good. I really, a lot of these are shows that I really wanted to play for you no matter what. So that's what we've got going on there. I want to give you one more story, if you will allow me. Where did I put it? Here it is. So I told you about Frederick Dene and his cousin, Manfred Lee, and how the two of them created Ellery Queen. Now, one of the things that happened in their life was they created Ellery Queen because there was a contest. So in the fall of 1928, the two of them entered a mystery novel writing contest. They were being offered the number one prize, the top prize, was $7,500. This is in 1928. Now, here in Wikipedia, it says that $7,500 is equivalent to about $140,000 in our money. Now, the contest was sponsored by McClure's magazine and the Frederick A. Stokes Company. They ponied up the money. Now, they decided, the two writers, to use this collective pseudonym of Ellery Queen. So Ellery Queen has written this book. He's written this mystery novel, and it's about Ellery Queen. And they just thought that was really cool. They thought it was really cool because I'm sorry, I'm reading while I'm talking. Because they thought readers always tend to remember the name of the detective of a story. They never really remember the name of the detective story's writer. That was their theory. They won. It was fantastic. They won. They were informed that they had won the contest. And then McClure's magazine went bankrupt. It was absorbed by another magazine called The Smart Set. The guys had not received their money. The Smart Set magazine then announced that they were going to rejudge the contest. Oh boy. These guys won a fortune. And now the new owners of the magazine are rejudging. Well, they lost. They were not chosen by Smart Set magazine. A fine writer, Isabel Briggs Meyer, won it in 1929. But remember the Frederick A. Stokes Company? They were a publishing company, and they agreed to publish Danae and Lee's story that they had written, their novel, which introduced Ellery Queen. It's called The Roman Hat Mystery, and it was a huge success. Absolutely a monster success. They were then contracted to write more mysteries, and they went on to create a successful franchise of Ellery Queen that lasted for 42 years. Now, as I told you, Frederick Danae went on to start the magazine, Ellery Queen magazine. It was a magazine that when I was a kid and I was bored, I would always look at it when I was at the newsstand or magazine stores or whatever, bookstores that had magazines. I would always look at it. I kind of wish I'd picked it up. Granted, they didn't write all the stories. They were more the editors. Oh, I'm sorry. Ellery Queen was the editor. But it did really score big as a literary magazine. Not only that, they're still publishing it to this very day. I'm not sure it's in a paper form anymore, but it exists to this very day. So that is one of my favorite stories so far about the creation of a great detective. Well done, everybody. And right here, we have people talking mad crap in the chat, which is what the chat's for. We all have a pen name, right? Norm D. Plume. That was my pen name. I can't remember what yours was, Chris. Was yours Sid Nim? Were you Sid Nim? I can't remember what yours was. You know, I could just go on forever, and you know I will if I don't just get out of here. So thanks for watching. Tune back next week, Thursday night at 7 p.m. on the West Coast, 10 p.m. on the East Coast. We will be bringing you Bold Venture. It is a really worthwhile show. You're going to have a great time. Bring your friends. Bring your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. And I will be out there, banging the drum myself, trying to bring in new folks. Don't think I need new folks. I love the folks I have, but it's always great to have more folks in the chat and in on the fun. That'll do it. Thank you very much. Spider Hat thanks you. Yeah, that's as good as a Spider Hat wave